I guess we understand that all the social media is lit up right now with the news on the screen here. I'm covering it by minute here. Obviously, it's been a little bit more busy morning than I'm typically used to, that's for sure. Not really how I like to spend my day. Actually, elected to go to the gym this morning for my typical morning routine. Had to wake up with what we've got on the screen here, which tells the story of what's going on here. I do want to premise, and there's a few folks that have made their way in here. If you are actually trying to earn an honest living, I commend you. I don't typically do this live during the day, but just so happened to be that the timing was right on this for me to try to click over and actually chronicle the call, because I typically review these calls multiple times over. I both read the transcript as well as review the information as released, but I'm not going to try to sugarcoat this. I am going to premise, I think, some of the emotionally charged content as well. I'm not telling you not to be pissed. I'm really not happy about this at all, but I think it is incumbent upon investors who have been investing in this company. I am hard pressed to understand how a 50% drawdown in the company is justified as we compare the attributes that I talked about in the video that I just released yesterday and the attributes that exist this morning on the stock action. This is fascinating. And again, I want to remind everybody that this is in fact a business, okay? This is business. This is speculative investing in its own wheelhouse. So if you want to bleed that over, I've invited the Twitter hate to come to me directly and make sure to keep that scrutiny off of Twitter. I think everybody who has truly understood what I've aimed to do on this project was informed on an opportunity like Hyliion, which has entered into some headwind. I guess my question would have been for Thomas Healy to compare what he would have considered to be a conducive market to actually rolling it out his product as declared on the May 2020 investor presentation, as opposed to what he got in reality, which by their admission has been tough markets. I can't contend with that. Addressing supply chain issues, high interest rate, and the cost of capital, and quite frankly, to achieve liquidity in this market and actually go after free capital is going to be significantly more difficult, to the tune of 4x. And that's what I'm looking at here, and that's probably what Hyliion was looking at as well. The timing of this is never good. I find it ironic 1 week after the one release that was actually put forward to the public facing audience last week during the What the Truck interview. And I found it ironic to understand that the scuttlebutt right now, which is lit up. I'm not a patron of the Discord group anymore. I support a lot of those patrons, and I quite frankly, I still support the project. It just wasn't right for me. I didn't feel welcome there at all. So just like usual, I represent an independent voice on the Independent Investor channel, and certainly there's a lot of people who want to use the power of social media for good. This is one of those ironic times where information overload can almost be a bad thing, and you need to put on your governor and actually deploy a little bit of temperance in situations like this. 20 years ago, this would have never been an issue, because I would have found out a week later that this news, as declared to you this morning, real time down to the 1 hour minute, is actually being communicated almost real time to you guys. And I'm just a regular schmo on YouTube. Sid, I see you popped in there, man. I don't know if you're on audio or just visual, but I can pop you in for a second here, as I may have to kick over and actually try to get this holdings under the grid. We've got about 13 minutes left, and I'm going to try to pop over there and share that with the group here. So let's pop over here and see if I can add you. It's not letting me add you. Your device is not connected, so no big deal. Let's kick over here. And we want to make sure and get this thing aligned to where we can jump over and grab this conference as it happens. Okay, guys, so I'm going to watch it with you. I'm going to watch it live. and see what a tough position to be in, man. Holy smokes, what an absolutely horrendous position to be in. So yeah, here we go. So as we kind of start the countdown a little bit, I'll put this on a little bit bigger as we kind of count down the deal. K-Trash is in the group here. Is the bottom comment that I saw kick in here. This is a quintessential overreaction. You guys will be, I guess, pleasantly encouraged to understand. And again, I understand that there's probably some emotions flowing. I woke up this morning and I realized that my dick didn't fall off, so I'm still a male, and I'm still happy with that. I looked over, my wife hadn't vanished into oblivion, she hadn't vaporized, so I was still married. Drove the kids to school this morning, so I was still a proud father. Why do I mention all that stuff? You need to keep this stuff in a box for those of you guys who had the fortitude to enter into 1 share, 1,000 shares, or 10,000 shares of this. This is in effect necessary to keep this in a box. Again, I find it interesting, and that's why I invite that Twitter hate, because I think that's how a lot of people will deal with something like this, is to unleash their anger on somebody like myself, who's been a staunch advocate of the company, and I still am. I bought 500 shares this morning. I'm going to be monitoring this over the next couple of days, but I do agree that this is a major overreaction. The company's sitting on a ton of cash, and I think perhaps maybe they're victims of their own demise. In that, I've been calling for more transparency for the last few months. And, to shock the market like this with information, had they been a lot more forward leaning, I mean, look at 𝑪𝑎𝑛𝓋𝑎. 𝑪𝑎𝑛𝓋𝑎's got bad news every other couple of days. And I think the market has just gotten used to it. And I think 𝑪𝑎𝑛𝓋𝑎 releases information like this about a strategic direction. And quite frankly, 𝑪𝑎𝑛𝓋𝑎 needs to do that. Did Hyliion need to do this? Well, they felt like there was a necessity to do so. And without the Carno skew, I think we'd be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, to be honest with you, because it sounds like the ERX project is on hold right now. I alluded to this in my video this week about ERX orders kind of coming in at futile. In other words, I just don't think that the $400,000 MSRP on it is attractive right now. With the cost of capital, could you imagine trying to finance that and what the amortized schedule on an ERX at 8% interest would be? Even if they're given a break, guys, it's almost unfathomable to even understand. And this situation that we have right now is not necessarily even just isolated to Hyliion. It's permeated through the entire United States. And like I said, I still roll out of bed. I still put my pants on in the morning. I actually hit the gym this morning. That's what I felt like doing. But yep, this is certainly a disappointing message to. I've got some text from my Viper group. This is the quintessential falling knife, that's for sure. But interested to see what Thomas has to say here. I do not envy the situation that he is in. I don't imagine we could throw a little investment humor out there and suggest that he has a diversified portfolio outside of his 34 million shares of Hyliion stock that just got chopped in half by about half. Just in the pre-market, it was down right away, and it crawled all the way back to about 90 cents, and now it's sitting at about half down right now. Let me check the charts right now. Yeah, it's sitting at about 60 cents right now. So significant amount of technical damage, and where it goes from here is just beyond me. As far as I've had a few tweets that have come through that are somewhat concerning about people quickly selling the stock. I have learned, and I could very well be wrong. Market has a great way of proving people wrong in either case. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you end up trying to, sell into this market, certainly hope that you guys are selling and walking away from the project, at least using limit orders. But I presume that that's probably not the case, as a lot of the emotion that I was monitoring over Twitter this morning, actually just in monitoring what was going on, was pretty negative. There's a lot of people who are absolutely to their wits' end. I mean, just having received certification last month, it's a real kick in the nuts actually to have this company that the flagship product and already have kind of surrendered one of their product SKUs. And so for the bullish share owners in the company that have been with the company for a while, it's really kind of unfortunate that we're in this position, and we're looking at this, and we're knocking off these product portfolios with no real promise of return on their SKU. And the ERX really was their flagship product that we were all looking forward to seeing it actually rolled out. And to take this to the bitter end, I'd say is in poor taste. I think these people are not stupid. All right, these decisions are not made in vain, and I don't think that they're being made out of any type of malicious intent. However, I do think that they're probably being made with some vigor now, and some I think there's probably a sense of urgency that has sat in with Hyliion now. And I think that that's where we're at right now, just a few minutes away from the strategic update that we've got on the company. And I'm going to click over to you guys, and I'm actually going to keep the conversation during the address to a dull roar. You guys are welcome to tap away, give your comments as well. And then shortly after the strategic update, I will probably turn off the live stream and do a reaction at a different time. I've got some obligations today, but that will be my plan right now. Very good stuff. Very cool. Anyway, cool. Less than 5 minutes away. We got a hell of people in the group here, that's for sure. I don't want to read or hear anything about Carno because it's a prototype. Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. I didn't get the whole Dooner interview that Thomas was in Cleveland, with his printing machines behind him. And, somebody asked me yesterday, they were like, well, you've always had confidence in the company. And me personally, I can have confidence in a company, but it's certainly naive if the company itself doesn't have confidence in its own product. In other words, those forward leaning, and I hate to say that they were made with malicious intent. They would say that it's not. I would say that they were misleading statements, that's for sure. But when we go back and we look at the anticipated market, I think that, potentially being able to forecast where we are in this current environment, I mean, we arguably have two global conflicts going on as I'm reporting out to you guys right now. People are dying, and I don't mean to bring in those obvious scenarios that are going on right now, but I'm not going to sit here and paint a rosy picture about this stock market that has been nothing but disappointing for the last 3 years. To be honest with you, I don't think that it's conducive to companies like this that are going to make their way into public markets and stand a chance. This was a short attack subject of entrance to the market. I think it found a window of opportunity through the SPAC era and through the SPAC craze. And I think they took it. And I think that the idea was that they could just overbuy and overfund the research and development. And they've come a long way. There's no doubt about it. But if I thought that I was investing in a research and development project, certainly I would have never taken the stab in the project in the first place. I think that my big question at this point is to reconfirm relationships with major companies, the first being Cummins. Cummins is the solid rock here. If there are any shaky ground to be had whatsoever, I would need to have some assurances that those relationships were still intact. Number two, the progress with Peterbilt. If those two items right there are compromised, where does it leave Hyliion without an e-axle, which is sponsored by and owned by Cummins Meritor previously, as well as the assistance of a mod center OEM to actually assemble this? Then this project is for naught. And I've said that for months and months. When and how Hyliion would have known about that is anybody's guess, and you're entitled to your opinion to be presumptuous as far as when you thought Thomas knew. I thought it was again an ill-timely release yesterday at 4:15 on the dot, without even a chance for people to interpret the information. But do I see litigation coming down the pike? I've seen litigation for far less than this. So, my opinions, for whatever they're worth, is to anticipate those roles. Absolutely. I think this story needs to be reviewed. I think it needs to be scrutinized up and down. And if the very entity that pledges to protect would-be share owners, it's much easier and much more tempting to get caught up in frauds and temptation and things like that. But when a company like this, that on the onset appears as if it is integrous in their approach, integrous with the people that they've brought on the team and are still on the team, board of directors, upper management, etc. There have been some red flags along the way here in upper management actually receding from the company. And in hindsight, were those red flags enough to suggest that there were problems behind the scenes with this company? All of those things probably should be subjected to rigor, but my life goes on as yours does. I take this stuff as a grain of salt. Obviously, it's a big pill to swallow, that's for sure. It's not something that I enjoy about stock market investing. It's also not my first rodeo with this stuff. This is not good. I'm also not selling my shares at this route. I'd like to hear what they have to say, and I'd like to sit on this for about 72 hours. I'm going to give myself a 3-day moratorium on this. And really kind of objectively take a reapproach after the address is made, which is coming up here in about 45 seconds, guys. I'm going to look to kick over here and give you guys the full screen of what we're looking at here. Hopefully the strategic vision does actually just kick over and we're able to kind of review this together. I hope this works. So we can actually hear the address from the upper management here. And with that, guys, I'm going to go off the line here. I'm going to go silent on the line as I witness this. And I encourage you to leave your comments as well. And we will go offline here. We've got about 10 seconds. Thanks, guys.
Good morning and welcome to the Hyliion Holdings Strategic Update Call. Please note that this call is being recorded. All lines have been placed on listen-only mode. We will not be taking any questions after today's presentation. I would now like to turn the call over to Kellen Ferris. Please go ahead.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Hyliion Holdings' Strategic Update Call. On the call today are Thomas Healy, our Chief Executive Officer, and John Panzer, our Chief Financial Officer. Press release related to this conference call is available on Hyliion's Investor Relations website at investors.hyliion.com. Please note that during today's call, we will make certain forward-looking statements regarding the company's business outlook and strategic plans. Forward-looking statements are predictions, projections, and other statements about anticipated events that are based on current expectations and assumptions, and as such are subject to risks and uncertainties. Many factors could cause actual results or outcomes to differ materially from the forward-looking statements on this call. For more information about factors that may cause the company's results or outcomes to differ materially from such forward-looking statements, please refer to our presentation and press release, as well as to our filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Today's comments speak only as of the date they are made. You are cautioned not to put undue reliance on forward-looking statements, and we undertake no duty to update this information unless required by applicable law. Now I will turn the call over to Thomas.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the call. We appreciate your participation. As we announced in yesterday's press release, the company has engaged strategic expert advisors to support us as we explore a range of strategic options for our powertrain business. The scope of this review is broad and includes all options. The objective is to ensure that the company is utilizing its capital most effectively and is maximizing value for shareholders. To be clear, this review does not include Hyliion's Carnot generator technology. More to come on that later in our discussion. We are proud of the progress we made with the development of our Hypertruck ERX powertrain. As we have regularly publicized, we have made consistent progress achieving the development milestones that we laid out almost 2 years ago. In fact, with the recent receipt of CARB certification and the beginning of extended fleet trials with customers, we have completed all of the prerequisite steps on our path to commercializing our Hypertruck ERX powertrain. Despite this progress, the environment for companies in the electrified commercial vehicle space, including us, is changing. Companies are extending commercialization timelines amid various development challenges. Consequently, sales remain low and many companies are facing financial difficulties without the ability to raise capital. Hyliion is facing some of these similar challenges, including the cost of procuring powertrain components is increasing due to the limited number of suppliers and low production volumes for key components, indicative of the immature nature of the electrified powertrain market. Inflation is also driving higher component costs and increasing the cost of our operations. We are also seeing a more conservative level of interest from potential customers that we initially expected. We believe this is due to a combination of factors, including a presently weak freight market and the magnitude of challenges fleets are facing in transitioning from diesel to electric trucks. While we believe our electric powertrain is the right solution for long-haul trucking and avoids some of the hurdles with other electrified solutions, such as charging infrastructure, range anxiety, or high cost of hydrogen, we still face the longer than expected adoption cycle of new electric technologies in the commercial vehicle space. At our investor event in June, we described additional development work that is necessary to better address the needs of the market and to align with recent changes to the regulatory environment. This work includes integrating and obtaining CARB certification for the new Cummins 15-liter natural gas engine, developing a day cab variant of the Hypertruck ERX powertrain, and continuing to reduce the cost and weight of the powertrain. A day cab solution addresses recent customer interest as well as the opportunity created by the recent CARB Advanced Clean Fleet rule, which requires truck buyers to meet minimum fleet composition requirements for clean day cab trucks beginning in 2027. A similar requirement for sleeper trucks begins in 2030. We have also stated that we intend to transition more quickly to selling powertrains versus full trucks and to offer our powertrain solution to OEMs to integrate into their production facilities. These efforts would require additional time and capital as we work towards our expected ramp-up in sales. We've previously shared our expectations that we would need to raise additional capital. However, current market conditions are unfavorable, and there is no assurance that we will be able to raise additional capital on acceptable terms now or in the future. Given these dynamics, the company believes now is the right time to consider all potential options for our powertrain business to ensure we are effectively deploying our capital and our strong cash position in the interest of our shareholders. While this process is ongoing, we will continue work with our existing Hypertruck ERX powertrain system, including ongoing validation and showcasing the solution in extended fleet trials with potential customers. We will also continue assembly of our initial production trucks at our Austin facility, which we expect to be completed before the end of the year. However, we will pause certain efforts, such as securing new orders for trucks with our powertrain system, and new development work until we have greater clarity on the outcome of the strategic review. Hyliion will continue to focus on commercializing our fuel-agnostic Carnot generator technology, which we expect to compete effectively in the stationary generator market due to its superior operating characteristics, including high efficiency, as well as low emissions, maintenance, and noise levels. We expect that the Carnot generator will address the additional demands being placed on electric infrastructure and will be a preferred solution in existing generator markets. The insights we have gathered from the powertrain business and our existing partners and customers are also assisting us with our commercialization efforts on Carnot. I will conclude by noting that the board has not set a deadline or definitive timetable for the completion of the strategic review, and there is no assurance that this process will result in any particular outcome. Finally, following this call, we will make updates that are legally required, but will refrain from making any further comments about the process until further notice. With that, I appreciate you taking the time to join us today for this update call.
This will conclude today's conference call. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect.
All right, so I've disconnected from the call here. Super disappointed. Obviously not necessarily the most professional. I don't know what the hell they're going to talk about here in a month on the Q3 call. That was for sure. I've got some comments here. That was pointless. I totally agree. Super disappointed. This is about as disappointing as I've been as a shareholder in the company. That's for sure. We'll have to monitor. I will be taking a moratorium over the shares. The shares aren't going anywhere. My life hasn't changed one day removed of this horrible news. Would it be so much to suggest that the time that we looked at investing in this project more medium to long term is even more valuable now if they're going to actually make it? They're certainly not going to make it by looking at the optics in the short term. That's for sure, right? So if you're making your decisions in the acute, I really can't comment on a reaction and tell you the good news that's come out of that. I believe it was a pre-staged type of scenario. So I'm stuck in this quandary by seeing him willing to come on live on an interview of what the fuck, and offer his comments, and then to the grander shareholder audience, man, there were thousands of people on that call with institutions. We were all on it. We all heard it. You can all have your own opinion about it, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I've been pretty scathing of Hyliion. I give them a 0 on performance of that. I didn't see any benefit at all. I don't think I'm being overbearing. That's just my honest reaction to it on the onset. There's no reason to re-review the transcript. I got everything that I needed, and quite frankly, that's kind of what I expected from this delivery. Very disappointed. The tone and tenor wasn't quite the same. I'm going to go take the snapshot of Thomas Healy actually laughing in the Dooner interview. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to take that and I'm going to push it out through a 3-second short, actually, and I'm going to put it on a loop, actually, and I'm probably just going to release it via shorts every day. In conclusion of this, I do apologize for the 15 minutes of stagnant air at the beginning of it. I wanted to make sure and push this through just as a give back. I may demonetize this, actually, so it's uninterrupted, just as a give back to the community, because I don't really give a shit about making 6 cents from this live stream. I know there's a lot of people in here, and one thing that's certainly missed, I think, by all of the regulators that oversee this, is that these things absolutely impact thousands and thousands of people. And I can tell you, as a government employee myself, I can tell you that those inefficiencies are very, very real, enough to create this Wild West type of environment where companies like this can actually come into a fruition in a country that I would like to have more confidence in the regulatory system, in protecting the very entities that they are charged to protect. I think people have, unfortunately, a motivation to pursue money at all cost, and they've stepped on a lot of heads to get to where we are currently. I saw a post that said we're back in 2021 with half the cash. I agree with that sentiment. Where do we go from here? I have no idea. I'll watch the stock action over the next couple of days. It's anybody's guess where this falling knife goes. There's 7 million of shares that have traded hand before this, and I'm certain that we're probably up to about 8, 9, 10 million of shares traded hands today. So that's it. That's what we've got here. Wish I had better news. I really wish that I had better, better, more enjoyable things to share. This is business. I appreciate you guys keeping the conversation somewhat tempered for this release. I do appreciate that. And I just appreciate each and every one of you guys. I really do. I think that's what makes for a discussion. I will come out of this stronger. There's no doubt about that in my mind. Again, I'm fighting having this bleed over into other aspects of my life and my application, and what I do day to day, and how I impact people that I interact with. I'd rather be poor and happy than have to have this on my shoulders. And he's got a monster problem on his hand. I tweeted this morning that I don't envy his position. I think it's an absolutely horrible position, and I think karma, in fact, does go around. I think that this company has probably got everything that they've got coming to them, and we will see them and that unfold over the coming months. And whether or not I'm going to be on board and ride this ship, I think I'd just be best assured to actually look to cut some of the position. I have never even considered that over the course of the last 3 years, but this came out of the blue as one comment actually 16 million. Damn. That's crazy. So it doubled, and I would imagine that a lot of that is exacerbated selling and trading hands. And I don't know if a reduction in the share count is prudent at this point. Like I said, I don't make hasty decisions no matter what. It is still a share holding of mine with speculative expectations. I entered into the shares with those expectations, and I will absolutely put my best rigor over the decision making that I have over the shares. But this is a real kick in the nuts, that's for sure. I wish I could tell you that there was good information that came out of that. It was very boilerplate. I think it was very cold. I actually think it was cold to negative, because his tone was not like what I saw just as early as last week. And I think those activities speak of someone who needs to be reviewed. Look, if there's no foul play there, so be it. I have no problem with that. But I run a legitimate life. I run a legitimate business, and I run a legitimate day-to-day work routine. I'm not pissing in anybody's Cheerios. I'm not affecting anybody's livelihood. And I think this guy has got a tough road to hoe. There's no doubt about it. If he's got all this assistance from the industry that he has said has been on his team this entire time, well, now's the time to make those phone calls. And I think most of the people who were part of the discussion at the onset, Vince Cubbage right at the top, are probably long gone in their mansions in Vail. I think that I've had ample indications along the way that should have probably given me more insight to controlling what I thought was a pretty controlled entrance to building a nice position in this company, that of which I'm sitting on now as I speak to you, right? What will it be materially worth if, his focus is coming through on 30 orders that was a timeline that he is proud that he met on margins that are going to be in the negative. In other words, these hyper trucks are going to be put out in super low volumes. They're not going to make a dime. They're going to lose money off of those initial ERXs. So beyond that, when and where and how can this company expect to make money in the long term, even in the short term, to start to, I really caught that portion where the board of directors promises no receipt of any type of remedy by deployment of this plan. What kind of bullshit is that? I tweeted out yesterday, and I was dead serious, that $700 million could have went to a fleet of neon green roach coaches, and they could have sold tri-tip California burritos at $10 a pop, and probably been able to generate more top end revenue that they've been able to generate thus far. Guys, I'm going to sign off. I appreciate you guys. I will keep you guys updated as appropriate, and I do appreciate your guys' time in reviewing the call with me. Wish I had better news, but unfortunately, business is business, and this is pretty much all bad. Take it easy, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.